In our postcard from Florence, Seth Doane shares a secret of the Italian Renaissance, some 500 years in the making.
There's a small gray door down here. It'll take us into the Vasari Corridor.
In Ron Howard's film Inferno, Tom Hanks uses it as an escape route. The Vasari Corridor enables Hanks' character to evade police in the center of Florence, emerging into the Uffizi Gallery. This passageway was a World War II escape path in Roberto Rossellini's 1946 film Paisa, and has been a fascination long before the advent of film. It dates back to the Renaissance.
This is a lot of fuss over a hallway.
This is a very special hallway.
Ike Schmidt met us in this very special hallway, which was closed in 2016 for repairs and fire code updates.
You are the first to shoot in here.
We visited in March last year when it was still under renovation and when Schmidt was still director of Florence's Uffizi Gallery, which manages the Vasari Corridor, and reopened it in December.
That was a daily commute on foot, pedestrian commute of the Grand Dukes for several centuries.
It was built in 1565 for the powerful Cosimo de' Medici and his family.
Nowadays, we have skyways in Houston, especially in Minneapolis, for climatic reasons. But back then, it was totally unique.
And constructed for, let's call them, practical reasons.
The Medici could easily move backwards and forward. No one knew where they were. The Vasari Corridor also served to listen to the people on the street. There was no technological surveillance back then, but opening the windows, even today, you hear every single word that is being spoken on the street.
This was about convenience, it was about safety for the Medici, it was about security.
Absolutely.
The Skyway snakes for more than half a mile through Florence, stretching from the Uffizi, then the seat of government, above the streets, across the river, past the Boboli Gardens to Palazzo Pitti.
It's a very long hallway which connects two of the most important buildings in Florence, but originally it didn't go that far. It ended in the Boboli Gardens, and that changed with Ferdinando de' Medici, who connected it with the Pitti Palace, which became the new home of the Medici family after Eleonora of Toledo had acquired it.
What does the reopening mean?
The reopening means a lot of emails, a lot of requests.
Elaine Ruffalo is an art historian who does tours of Florence.
What is the fascination?
The fascination is because people like to enter a space that is exclusive. They feel like it's secret. I mean, how do you build a kilometer-long corridor running through the very heart of Florence in 5 months? I mean, hats off to Giorgio Vasari, the architect. Of course, there's big money behind it. It was Medici money, Medici ducal money.
Who were the Medici?
So the Medici come on the scene as early as the mid-13th century. Like so many other families that are pouring into Florence to try to make some money after this period of the Middle Ages. And they began as merchants, but then they became bankers. And the Medici got their hands on the papal bank account. And from that on, it was an explosion of wealth.
We met Ruffalo on the banks of the Arno River.
So Giorgio Vasari built this thing in 1565 in only 5 months. But one reason he was able to do so quickly is he was using pre-existing buildings to help carry the Vasari Corridor. So if you look up this way, you can see that there's a series of arches that at one time was the old fish market. Then he turns left at the top of the Ponte Vecchio, uses the oldest bridge in Florence.
The aptly named Ponte Vecchio, or Old Bridge, was built in 1345. Today it's home to jewelers and goldsmiths, another legacy of the Medici.
This bridge originally was a place where they would sell fish and meat and tanners and anything you can imagine, like a medieval souk almost.
Why the change?
Well, because when the Medici finished their corridor, it was Ferdinando de' Medici in 1593 who didn't want the smell of all that fish and meat as he was making his way to the Palazzo Pitti.
Pesky vendors removed, a fancy skyway installed for VIPs. It all sounds pretty familiar.
And above, of course, the Medici are walking over your heads and you're not even aware of it.
And now visitors can again retrace the steps of the Medici in a passageway which seems to lead to another time.